Welcome back, guys. This is part 4 of the 1973 SL125. For those of you who watched last episode, we're really trying to get this thing to have spark, new spark plug, new points and condenser. Right now, what I don't really like doing is replacing parts just to replace them, is trial and error. Eventually we're going to get a test light, we're going to meter out and get going on some of this stuff. But for peace of mind and reliability down the road, we're going to do a new ignition coil. And I also have a new ignition switch. And then we'll start getting into it.
Okay, so we're going to be taking this coil off. So first we're going to need our driver. Going to take these 2 screws out. They're kind of long. And then you're going to want to
Grab a 10 millimeter and have to take the there's a 10 millimeter. Grab that. It's going to be a 10 or a 12. So you're going to have to grab a combination wrench for that. So we're getting a little bit of help today from a little dirt biker. You have to check out his channel. He's also my cameraman, so getting a little bit of help. So that's a 10 right there. That bolt also fastens the carburetor engine. It's there. Bike has been taken apart for a very, very long time, so a lot of the hardware here is rusted. But by the time we're done going through this thing, we should have pretty much touched every nut and bolt, so nice and free to go. Was that after all? Was that a 10 millimeter?
Yep.
Is that going to slide right off the stud then? Why don't we take the spark plug out? Get around to the other side here. What we got here? Oh, this guy fell out. And what this is a little bushing. So, bushing goes right underneath the oil pack there. So let's set that one there. Why don't you grab the one that fell?
Fallen.
Coil put in? Okay, great. Alright, so the next steps, how many wires we got coming off this coil here, oh? We got one blue one, one black one. got one blue and one black. You want to grab both of those ends of the connector carefully. Yep, there you go. There's a male and female connector there. Now, is that everything? Well, spark. Actually, do the spark plug. Set that ignition coil down, and the new one goes in place. Good deal. Now this one, different colored wires. So you look. Go. Why don't you grab the new ignition again? We'll just hold it up to the old one versus the new one. Orientation. Okay. So black and blue versus black. Hello. One can only assume that black goes with black and yellow is other color. So here we're going to set this one back in this direction. I grab those screws and those two bushings. Okay. So the bushings, I believe, went underneath the coil. So grab your condenser back on top. Grab the condenser. Going down through. Good deal. Just that bushing that fell out. Did the screw at least get started on that?
Yep.
Yep. So you want to grab the bushing top there. And you up. Alright, we will find that bushing in just a minute. Here. It can't be far. Alright, we went underneath that wheel chock there. So. Lots of stuff to do to the bike. Got years of patina, which is now a little bit of rust. Can you see it in there, buddy?
Yeah.
You gotta fish that bushing out from underneath the wheel chock.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? Here, hold over there. You feel it?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Take your time and get right out of there. What are the chances of that falling down in between the metal there? Okay. We found the bushing. We were able to blow it out. It was stuck under that wheel chock pretty good. So we got one more screw to go. And let's make sure that black wire, okay, so it's tucked around there. I think it's going to be okay for now. If we need to reroute wires, once things are getting settled, that late. Alright, good deal. So we're going to grab that Phillips head screwdriver again. We're going to get those screws snugged down. Careful we don't strip out the heads of these. Okay. Alright. So let's go black wire to black wire. quick peek at our... Hey guys, so one thing I just noticed, we went back on the footage of the video, this gray wire, which goes back to, I don't know, is going back to this connector here, which is going to the coil. Now, if that black wire is just a ground, maybe that's okay. We're definitely going to have to start metering stuff out here pretty soon. Now this blue wire, I'm just giving little dirt biker here a little help here. So this yellow clips into the blue. We have our black, our ground, our condenser. This is all tightened down. And one thing I noticed, this has got to be part of our problem. But this is like household wire or some kind of old wire here. I'm tracing it back. It goes from the headlight bucket, which some of you've been very helpful making some comments to check out the headlight bucket. And look at this. This green, these two red wires are going back through here, coming up. One of them is going to the positive on our battery, and the other one is going here, which is going to our fuse. Very interesting. I mean, a big clump of wires like this is obviously someone's rigged this in some fashion, so not good. We have these two wires coming up here, and our ignition switch is still plugged in. So we can put the new. Oh, we want to try and get the new ignition switch put in. Okay, so you're going to want to grab the pliers that are right down there and loosen that bezel. So, want to open those pliers up. A little bigger there, you're going to want to open them up. Quarters of the way there. Now, because we're just going to get rid of this, we're not going to worry too much about scuffing it up, so you want to go the opposite way to loosen. Going, there you go. Be able to loosen it by hand now. Just got to be careful of the wires that are up here. Let's put that out all the way. Oh, yeah. Now there's a bundle of wires right here. Let's see where these go to. These. Push the ignition harness out. Push the ignition harness out. Pay attention when the wires are coming out. So we ram it right there in the frame. Okay, old one's out. What do we got for a new one? Nice shiny new one. Alright, so now you're going to reverse your steps. So you're going to want to remove the key. Bezel that's on there. Now we're going to be really careful when we tighten this one down because we don't want to scratch everything up. I'm going to remove the bezel. Is there a washer or lock nut or something on there? Set that down. Then you can fish your wires through that rubber grommet on the frame. Just to the side of horn wire. You want to fish the wires up through the bottom. Up through the grommet. Coming through the back side. Might be there's a retention, a little retention right here in the corner. So you got to match that up with the shape on the new ignition switch. You can see a little divot there. Push it through. Now hold it with your one hand. Washer and the new bezel on. Good. Now you can just hand tighten that bezel. Now this is a very fine thread, so you got to be very careful you don't cross thread the new bezel there. What I can do is I can actually push it from the back side. That helps there. Try and get it in there nice and square. Get it on there just about hand tight. New keys in. Which way they go. See if that switch goes on and off. Now the bottom location, is that off? Now, so those, you have a red and black wire, so you're going to want to connect both of those. And we can route them real nice. Once we get this thing sparking, we'll get, the wire, we'll get things taped up and tucked in the right places so that we don't have any issues down the road. Nice push until it clicks. All right. So we've successfully put in a brand new ignition coil, connected ignition switch, those connect. And those feel great. Red. Good, we have our connectors here. And we're going to put our new spark plug on our new coil here. I don't think it's going to spark, but so what do we got to lose? So if you come over to the other side here, we're going to put our ignition switch in the on position, and we're just going to crank it over a few times. No, this will be okay. Guys, we have spark. See if you guys can see it also. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't think wow, I don't think I could be more happy right now. Okay, so what did we do? So last video we hot wired the ignition switch, and that actually told us that the ignition switch, when we bypassed it, didn't make any difference. So my thoughts are the old ignition switch, which was pretty rusty anyways, was bad, but now that we've gone through, we did our points, we did our condenser, we did things piece by piece. I believe this ignition coil is the problem. Oh man, what a nice blue spark. So this is really good news. Now guys, we did see some of this hokey wiring. We're definitely gonna fix a lot of this stuff. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we did put in a new 6-volt battery. This is a 6-volt system. So I'm like really stoked. For some reason the headlight didn't come on so we you know what? I did disconnect the battery because I didn't know if there's going to be a draw on the battery, and it's actually sparking without a battery. So maybe these hokey wires is bypassing the battery somehow. I don't know. I've had some comments on our page here saying, you really have to have really good grounds, and that a lot of the connections in the headlight bucket are important, in that you have to have a good fully charged battery in order to conduct the power through. So, man, I'm just happy right now that we got to the next step. So coming up to the next video is going to be exciting. I think we can move on to the fuel part of things. We do have a brand new carburetor. We're going to replace the carburetor, and the fuel tank, we're going to be working on that, getting some of the crud out of that. And wow, we already checked the compression, so we know we have I believe about 135 psi cylinder, so that's good. We'll probably change the oil, maybe a few other little things before we actually put some fuel in it. And then we can get to the other stuff, like the chain of body work, and just making this thing look good. We're going to have to find some turn signals, I think, on online, see what's available, and we'll go from there. And again, guys, thanks for watching. We really appreciate all your support and all your subscribes and likes and shares. It helps us quite a bit as we're growing the channel. And,